Good to be with you again. Sometimes when I'm watching TV and I see stories of people who have suffered greatly, maybe veterans of the war, so badly hurt, afflicted, losing limbs and such, and it strikes me that often it's somebody who comes to visit them who also has in some way suffered greatly. That there's a bond that is established between the two. It's like, you know what I've gone through. You know the suffering of my life. You too have suffered. Wounded healers, we're called. I was struck reading recently some words from the famous Catholic priest and author Henry Nouwen. Nobody escapes being wounded. We are all wounded people, whether physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. The main question is not how can we hide our wounds so we don't have to be so embarrassed, but how can we put our woundedness in the service of others? When our wounds cease to be a source of shame and become a source of healing, we have become wounded healers. Jesus is God's wounded healer. Through his wounds, we are healed. Jesus' suffering and death brought joy and life. His humiliation brought glory. His rejection brought a community of love. As followers of Jesus, we can also allow our wounds to bring healing to others. I think we've often seen in life people who have been wounded in some way, perhaps especially in matters of addiction. Somebody who has been addicted and struggled with it, fallen through it, suffered greatly, can often be the greatest healer for someone else still afflicted and addicted. I know in the church we've often come to recognize that some priests who have suffered greatly, even been at times addicted to alcohol, gambling, or whatever, have become the most effective healers for other people, able to share with them the pain and the sorrow. They can say, I know what you're going through. I know you're suffering. Look to Jesus, the ultimate healer, for strength and mercy. I heard some time ago of a sister, Anne, up in New York City, who had been ministering to lots of people through her life. And then one day when she was driving, her car was hit by a runaway a railway car. And so she spent almost a year in hospitals and trying to recover, able to finally walk a bit. And so often she asked God, why? Why have you done this to me? I was doing so much good work for you. Why now am I prevented from reaching out to people? And then she realized, as she herself was in the hospital or in waiting rooms for doctors, that she could relate to other people sitting there, that she could help them in their own struggles, their own suffering, their own pain. And she realized that was God's way of providing for her a new way of reaching out and helping other people. We are all wounded healers in some way. And yes, I suspect each of us has remembered times in our life when we were able to reach out to someone who also was suffering. And because we shared something of our own sufferings, our own setbacks, our own defeats, that we were able to help them find hope and healing. Again, the words of Henry Nouwen strike me. When we become aware that we do not have to escape our pains, but that we can mobilize them into a common search for life, those very pains are transformed from expressions of despair into signs of hope. Yes, Jesus calls us to recognize the times in life that we have suffered, the pains we have endured, and be able to reach out to others, share with them, and especially to remind them of the greatest of all the wounded healers, Jesus Christ, the suffering Lord, the crucified Savior, the risen Lord. And we can give so much hope, so much new life to others. God bless you and your loved ones.